Our coverage begins in the commercial capital today, Lagos, where the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development announced the suspension of the Nigeria Air project as well as the airport concessioning deals. Festus Keyamo dropped the hint when he embarked on a tour of the Muritala Mohammed International Airport to have a first-hand experience of the airport's facilities. News Central's Perpetua Fasanmi-Peter was there and filed this report.
During the tour, the minister stopped at intervals to share his thoughts on the facilities within the airport. At the international airport, he announced that he was giving the international airlines till October 1st to vacate the old terminal and move to the new one to enable full-scale renovation of the facility.
I have also seen reports that they said we totally closed down Lagos. That is not true. We should move and use the new terminal. That's all I've said. The new terminal that is underused, we spent a lot of money building it, and we have to use it. The old terminal is a total eyesore. Since I came into office, I've heard complaints upon complaints. The central air conditioner is not working. The carousels are not working. They broke down quite often. And the approach into the airport is smelly. It is totally unwelcoming, to people coming into Nigeria. And that is the gateway to Nigeria. So I have given a directive that we should completely shut it down and use the new terminal.
Also speaking on projects embarked upon by the immediate past administration, the minister maintained that Nigeria Air and concession plans are suspended until he briefs President Bola Tinubu on the true situation of things.
And so Nigerians must be aware of how you give out their commonwealth to individuals in the name of concessioning. They must be aware. Don't strive this in secrecy. Tell the National Assembly who are oversighting us, let them know, who are representing Nigerian people too, and let them know through you that this process was transparent and we got the best deal for Nigerians. And that is why I have directed that all of those concessions should be suspended until I brief Mr. President. Air Nigeria should be suspended. I have directed Nigeria Air until I brief Mr. President. It's as simple as that.
While addressing the media, he was reminded that there have been many of such promises at the beginning of every tenure with little or no implementation. To that, this was what he had to say.
This is a simple matter. I either get sacked by Mr. President or somebody who is responsible gets sacked. So it's a matter of who dies first.
The minister maintained that he would entrench transparency in the system. Furthermore, he stated that his standing order to the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria fund is revenue generation and would support and protect the interest of indigenous airline operators. Perpetua Fasanmi-Peter reporting for News Central.
Joining us now on the news tonight is an aviation infrastructure specialist, Nnamdi Udoh. We also have Wole Shadare, who understands the subject matter deeply, joining us as well. Thank you, gentlemen, for giving us your time. Let's start with you, Wole. You had a first-hand experience of the minister's tour and pronouncement at the airport in Lagos today. You probably have witnessed more than a dozen of such. Talk us through what stood out for you in what the minister said. Okay, I understand we have a little audio issue, but let's see if we can connect with Nnamdi. If you can acknowledge that you're hearing me. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you.
All right. Suspending the Nigeria Air project and the airport's concessioning deals by the federal government may be popular due to some suspected suspicious dealings in the process. But remember that there are foreign investors in Nigeria Air. What's your thought about this, and what impression will this create before foreign investors Nigeria has always chased around?
First and foremost, I think that the minister is a bit hasty. I would have expected he buys more time and takes his time to set up some ministerial committee to look at what has been done, and then he will take a position. For me, outright suspension might appear to be hasty, and he could go do back-end work to establish where we are. The process of an AOC in Nigeria is so well documented in NCAA that interference could be minimal by all standards. So suspending is more like a stampede, and it could be faulty.
Okay.
And for foreign investors, it will be like another visit of what happened to Virgin Nigeria, which till today we did not allow our agreements to stand. So as a country, we could be a source of embarrassment to our foreign investors. Also, you recall there was a time we had an agreement with South African Airways flying through Lagos to New York. Do we keep our own package of the agreements? So I think the minister should do more consultation, set up a small team of experts, we'll have them a large number, and then reach out and take a position.
The condition of the facilities at Nigeria's airport have been a topic for discussion for several years. We've seen on several videos all over the place. I would like you to share your thoughts with us here. Do you subscribe to government's continued ownership of airports, or would you prefer private entities stepping and either own or manage it?
There is no way in the world that governments run airports effectively. A Nigerian is running the airport in Gatwick. That's not government. Government have no business running airports. Governments are not set up for profits. And even locally here, we have a private, effectively run airport in New York, owned by state government, but being run by an establishment of Nigerians. So I would expect also he consult what were the mistakes, what did the minister do that needs to be corrected. Government is a continuum. So I will expect with all the fanfares, we should go into our cocoon and go through this metamorphosis required for coming out in flying colors with our airports. It is doable, it is workable, and the processes are well documented. The processes of making an airport profitable, effective, and operationally efficient is available. And we have the human resource within our country to do them. And where there is a need, aviation is global. Airport management system is global. And we can reach out to people and make our airport infrastructure and operations seamless, and will be a source of pride for all Nigerians.
But there's one thing that is, I mean, I know you touched on it a bit, but there are many airlines in this country that are struggling. They have admitted that much. From your experience in the sector, how can this be addressed, and how can both government and the airlines be more viable?
Well, for me, the airlines are fragmented. The airlines should be looking forward to a team operation. There are too many. What we've done to the banking sector, I think we should draw up some checklist for our airlines. What the banking sector has done, you can't be chairman of a bank and your wife is the managing director. You cannot be director in a bank for a certain number of years. No. So we should bring such things to aviation. It doesn't have to be relatively the same way, but there should be checks and balances, and NCAA should be so well enabled to oversight the airlines. And of course, the enabling environment that is required. Some airports could be landing night free. If the airports are fully operational like they ought to be, the airlines have 24 hours operations. NAMA is available at every control tower, but they don't have to be open for 24 hours when there are no airlines to fly into them.
Okay.
So the airlines themselves have a job and a work to do, but the enabling infrastructure from ACA through oversight, through supervision, should be well established.
Okay, I think I would put the question from Wale to you. That's the very first question I asked when we started talking. It's your experience. I don't know if you followed the story that we presented a moment ago before you came on, the pronouncements made at the airport. I want you to talk us through, ways the minister could have handled the situation differently. You said it yourself that the pronouncement should have been done a little later, buy himself time. That's your word.
Hello?
Mr. Udoh, did you get my question?
For me, it's like I have a recurring decimal. The minister is well known, he's a pragmatic lawyer. We reverence him as a young man. I can see him in his first cap. I wasn't there because I'm not actively involved in the management of the sector at the moment. But after such a visit, you have to take a debrief and speak to MD Fan, MD Nama, everybody, and then ask more questions. I'm sure the minister does not fully understand yet the processes of issuing an AOC, if it is followed, if it is obeyed, if it is enforced, no mistakes. It's like having a patient in the operating theater. Power is erratic. There must be a seamless power system through a UPS system, the uninterrupted power supply. So we need to begin to help our ministers. The advisor should have told the minister, thank you, media, we've seen it all. We will come back with details, but this dustbin should not be here. This toilet is not clean. I don't like this air conditioning. It's not working effectively, but
on the flip side,
issues.
On the flip side of the whole thing, a lot of persons will say he's under immense pressure to act now. Let's see what happens in the coming days. Thank you very much, Mr. Nnamdi Udoh, for speaking with us.